Hello, good afternoon, and welcome. I'm Wormsire2146. It's Wednesday, the 17th of May, 2023, and we return once again to Factorio to continue this little idea about the tiny trains. General idea to build a big city grid base supplied by the smallest possible trains, just one locomotive with a single wagon, and to see if we can get that fast enough, efficient enough to actually function and produce lots of stuff. We'll see how it goes. We've made pretty good progress last couple of sessions. Certainly in the last one got our kind of starter base, I'd say, done. So the starter base is doing some research just up to the blue science pack level to get some things done, just general progress, and to unlock the components needed to make the railway network in the first place, which we also have set up production of. So we've got some storage of all the elements that will be needed to make the grid, and that's just gradually filling up in the background while we have started planning what it's going to look like and made some good progress on that in the last session. Confused myself towards the end, so hopefully we can unconfuse me in today. General idea, finish the design. That could take all 4 hours of today's session, or could be quicker. If it is finished, then we can start building it, which is perfect. But there's different things to try out, different sizes and bits to fiddle with in the design, so it could take a long time. And if I confuse myself again, it's almost certain to. But I kind of expect that we'll get a nice design sorted out in the next couple of hours, and then in the second half, hopefully have the opportunity to begin connecting up a few raw resources, depots, that kind of thing. We'll see how it goes. Let's hop into the factory. Quick catch up with this starting setup that we've got. Make sure everything's okay. I assume it was at the end of the last session, or I would have sorted it out. Probably. Resources are flowing in okay. Research is happening. Most things appear to have filled their storage up already, which is good. And something's still going and making more, especially towards the end. Resources a bit thin on the ground by the end of the line, but as the earlier things fill up, that'll sort itself out. So no issues there, I don't think. And our research queue, generic stuff that's going to be helpful going forward as we set things up in the grid. That's enough queued up to last a while, so we should be able to hop into our little editor extensions test lab. And these are things I remember that I want to think about. So I'm pretty happy to take away substations. Pretty sure we're not going to use them. I rarely do. The power poles is what we're kind of working on at the moment. Get the spacing right on that. Then we'll need to make sure the roboports and radars align within it. This is so trying to line up the power poles. We'll look at that first. This is on the basis of having the station in the middle and then 2 crossovers, which are quite dense this time around. We can overlap them. So that's good, but we might want to do just a single crossover, or to squish it down in some other fashion to make a smaller square. So this is probably like the biggest I would have the squares, and we'll work on that basis initially and get that design kind of sorted, and then we can look at an alternative that might be smaller, or see how the roboports fit in, and it might force us to go one way or the other. We'll see. The stations themselves just need a little fiddling before we blueprint them up. The unloading side I'm more or less happy with. We just need to get the power poles and then we can blueprint that. The loading up side doesn't need to have both liquid and solid loading at the same place. I just cannot imagine any time we would do that. So that can be redesigned and be more concise, but for consistency it's still going to need the same spacing, the same distances. So it's it's all good in terms of a beginning working point that we have. Might just strip it out in terms of blueprinting a few bits and pieces, but we're still some distance from making those blueprints. So the issue we have is the power poles don't line up how I want, right? So if that was touching, how are we down the bottom here? So that's touching the rail, the second row in. That's touching the rail there. So these are kind of irrelevant. And that leaves a gap between them, like so. if we had a single piece of rail added in, then the pole would move, this pole would move down that far, and if you had another bit of rail it moves down that far. So it does seem that we add 2 bits of rail and everything lines up nicely. So let me just, it's going to be both sides though. It's going to break this. So if you put 1 bit of rail above it and 1 bit below it, then that pole's not going to be there anymore. It's going to be like in the middle somewhere. So that might not work. Interesting. If you put both bits of rail on the same side, we don't have that issue, but then it's not square. Or at least the grid might be square, but the stations won't be central to them. They'll be slightly off center, which isn't like, it's not a disaster. It's not as bad as it sounds to me. I would like it to be central though. Would always have to be in the same, like below, in order to keep the roundabouts in the same place. So we couldn't like align the wagons by moving one side down and one side up. Both sides needs to go down or up, which is a bit, yeah, not a huge fan of that. Let's so take the poles away and then add the rail in and see what we end up with and how that lines up with those inserters and stuff. Hello Mondo, nice to see you. Hope you're well, hope you're having a nice day. Where, if we're adding in, kind of feel like putting it in the middle. So if I take, that's a bit much. No, that's about right. Take all that. A bit more than that. Good luck, Stuff in his own. No worries, no worries. Have a good one. Hope stuff gets sorted. This is kind of in the way, but we'll deal with that. More than that. There. Kind of, I think. Grab all of that. And space that by 1. So we're adding there. Probably, yeah, move these signals down. Makes most sense to me. That one can be there. And that will be up there, and that'll actually be there, and that was just for testing, so we don't really need that. Okay, and then at the top, similar deal. Just try not to grab too much. It's not enough. That's too much there, so that's the square I'm after, but nope. Want to grab from that square, but far enough over. Try there. That looks better. I've copied, not cut. Try again. That's good, that's good. Got it. Move that up one, so you put that back. There, 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 and there. And I'd move that signal up. That one can live there, and that combinator would stay somewhere around there. Okay, so that adds in the 2 bits, and it adds it centrally, and everything's square and nice and lovely. If I grab medium power poles now, so we might touching on both accounts there and there. Probably skip that one just because it looks so close to the rail, maybe. Fine for now though. Build this down so that gets us to there. Then it's come from the other angle as well. Is there? Yeah. That next one we can't put in. So the central one that would join these up, there's a bit of belt in the way. Okay. Well, we can work around that on this kind of like loading side. Things could be different. Although it does look awkward. I think we just move the belt further away, which is okay on this side, but awkward on this side. So how do we have this at the moment? That's touching the rail, so we want that there, really. And then there'd be another one really close, which is fine on the loading, because we don't actually need to use the left-hand side to load. We can for solid items, not for liquid. Might as well just have all 3 pumps on the right for liquid. So that's a bit awkward. That would be there. Possibly have that one there, but maybe not. Just the central ones. Interesting. Of course, there is always the option to use substation instead. Just need to join it. Yeah, like you could put a substation in that gap there, and it would, you know, power a lot of it and join everything up. Not awful. Not great either. Do this on the other side so we can see an unloading one as well. Kind of. Bunch of poles, line them up. That's there, so a bit different. That one there. Interesting. Other way up, so I guess it's not quite so central. So again, there's just a bit of belt there, and that's always going to be in the way if we want to unload like this, which, you know, we went through that the last time. This is the way to unload, definitely, to get everything possible off at one point and in a good amount. We can't unload into a box and out of that box there. There's no real way of rotating it or anything, or moving it. No, so that pole just, like, it can't go there. Then have that there and there. Shame about the gap between them. Is that going to be an option? Not really. Let's just look at that without that in the way. I would want to be on the rail. And if it's not on the rail, then the wire doesn't quite reach, because that signal's in the way. Okay. So if there was one in the middle, we might be able to join them where the signals are not, or down the end here. Would be nice. We'll probably be able to join them at the roundabout, so it's not a huge deal. But if the gap was... The gap is great, actually. Very good distance-wise. Just the rail is in the way. Fine. This, yeah, just doesn't really work. That can be there and that and that. It's just the actual powering of the inserters, the actual important part of the station. Oh, that just doesn't work. Just multiple poles in, off-center and unaligned, just to get them powered. And even, like, arbitrarily, you know, like this. Take them away then. A pole for the signals to hang around on. Could even move out or whatever. And then a grid that powers the inserters and, you know, just does that. And the pumps and everything like that, but just, yeah, does it. The next row out is also worth considering, so that's fine on the unloading side. But not on the loading, that tank is in the way. Although that can be adjusted. So I also want to know, what about unloading if it's rotated? Is that... I mean, it should end up the same, right? Let me strip that out for now. And put whatever, you know, put that in. Our poles are in the way. Just get rid of them for a second, then we can rebuild. That should be going under there, and that should run there, and so on. So this time... I mean, that, you know, that underground can go further and whatever. Why is it different? The spot where the wagon sits is different. Interesting. Doesn't look like it. So that's the square where the back of it is, and that's one ahead of where the front of it is. And the back of this is one ahead of the front of that. And because it's... the train's on a two-section, two-square grid, so that's how they align. They're different northbound compared to southbound. So it is one square off, which is very interesting. Lets that one fit there. Like I say, that can just go under, like, again, because we're going to be using yellows to begin with, but, you know, whatever. When we've got the blues, it can go under in one leap. Bit more of an issue on that side, but you don't necessarily need that pole. This one still can't go there. I'm more inclined to kind of make some substations just to cover this, although it is unnecessary. I mean, how many... this is a lot more dense. You only need one, right. Tempting then. In fact, yeah, in a straight line kind of. Like there might be best. Covers everything and has a straight cable connection to the other pole. For an example, take these out. Then yeah, this way around we're stuck with the problem that the pole doesn't align right. It's one off. Sure. I definitely want it to be symmetrical. For sure. So that is a big issue. Which is when you get to the point of just skipping it. Right, so... that's that pole essentially moving it out to here, but the tank is in the way. Interesting. Can't be moved forward. Well, it can be if we use an underground there. Be a bit awkward. Okay. Would prefer not to. What about... if you've got a second substation, it doesn't join a straight line and join with its friend. And the belts can be moved around a bit. Still, they're pretty happy with where they are. Could go the other way, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with how they are, where they are, and everything like that. I particularly want to change that. Very awkward, actually. Quite unhappy with how that's coming together. I say the other option, you just put those poles in, so that one would be missing. So do a grid like that. It's a bit ugly on that end. The distance between them is one square, between them is two squares. Yeah, because of how it is. Could you make that... so you can make it symmetrical by moving that up one and that down one, but then the middle isn't powered yet. Okay. Interesting. It would have to be like that. Not like the end of the world. We'll tidy those cables up. Where is copper cable? There we go. Across and in, yeah, something like that. I might do the square, just not the diagonals. Like that, yep, but that's there as well. Okay. It's vaguely the same thing. This row then has the same or similar issue that it can't. That's there, which again, the belt is probably best to shift it up one to avoid the poles, which means shifting it into the poles on this side. Okay, not ideal either. We can adjust around that maybe, but this tank being in the way is a big problem. That one's there, and then that pole just gets skipped. I mean, it's not the end of the world. There's the most symmetrical that can be. It ain't bad, it ain't like super ugly or anything like that, it's okay. Don't mind it. Just not perfect. Still, doesn't really matter. And with coverage like this, the loading ones, we just fit around it. It's probably not so much of an issue. So we can't move that close to the tank because it gets collision there. Best thing would be to move it up to the next, like, full gap. So up 3 on this side and down like 5 on this side. It's a bit crazy. Just how, like, unsymmetrical that is. I mean, to like line it up here in the middle would get it very much in the way of the signaling here. So we might do that above instead, which is doable. Just wouldn't need that pole then, which is kind of favourable. Let's say, for example, we do that. That one would be there and there. They join up. No longer need to wiggle around there, but that's coming all the way down here. Does make it a bit longer, quite a bit longer. But at least does line it up nicely in the end. Less of an issue where it's not unloading different things and they can all just be joined into like a single or a double line. But that is pretty nice actually, and then this would like come out to the side, and any deciders and arithmetic stuff which will exist will be in the gap here, which is good. Good. On this side, slightly closer, so instead of having a gap between the station, it won't. No, worse than that. We're going there, and then the station is in the way, so that doesn't work. How interesting. I mean, it's fine when you've got a blue because you just go under the whole thing, but yellows won't reach that far. Which, okay, maybe we will a red. Because we've unlocked reds, we can do it. Yes, it will. So we're not necessarily making them, but we can make the handful it takes to do a couple stations. Or whatever. It's going to take more than a handful. Let's say we did. Just, yeah, it becomes very not symmetrical with the two different stations. You can't just grab it and paste it, which I find very weird. But it is how it is, I guess. They would line up like that, 2 away. So down here, move them out to be a bit consistent. Those poles line up. They do, and those. Yeah. It's only the weird box in the middle that doesn't line up, which, like I say, I'm kind of okay with, weirdly. Surprisingly. The liquid tanks could be moved further away. Like, the length of the pipes here is relatively short regardless, so they could be moved back. Not quite that far, okay. And yeah, the one going under the rail needs a bit of an extension to it, which is fine. Do we take it as far as it'll go? Might wriggle them around a bit actually. What if we did something very different, you know, had a full storage and then just connected these into it somehow? Not ideal. That one to there, that one's to there, no other choice, okay. That pole would be there. That's really bad, so that would be better. Even so. That goes to there. This one is awkward, the middle one. We can't change its side on the unloading though. It needs to spread unless we restrict the amount of physical that can be done, or we don't have mixed stations, which may or may not be a problem. Don't really know any recipe we're going to have that's going to require us to unload physical and liquid in the same place. Not sure still. I mean, we can do the simple thing here of connecting it. It's not the end of the world. It's only pumping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in, and then we'll probably pump from there to where it's going anyway. So I can't see that being an issue. A little ugly, but not bad. Let's say we did that here as well. But I can't just copy paste. Copy, rotate and paste. Yeah, it's like it doesn't line up at all. Why not? Just, you know, out of curiosity and everything. That one's to there. It's like 2 rails out. Am I crazy here? This has got station, then a square, station, then a square with the signal on it. Yeah. And at the back, it's a square between them. Yeah, between the signal and the inserter. Everything's the same distance. So why doesn't it align the same? Station is there. So the back of the train is there, but the front of the train is one down. It's just how stations work, I guess, is the deal, the issue that I'm facing here. They are naturally unaligned this way around. So if we had one, and if you move it back, it doesn't help. Don't think. Let's say in theory you moved it forward, and then this side moved it forward as well. Yeah, you still don't get the wagons lined up, which could be cool. I mean, we could make that happen by stretching it further and making the wagons, but they'd still be misaligned, right? Because that one ends there and that one ends there. So, you'd have an inserters. If you moved it forward, whatever it is, 2 units, 4 units, they will not line up no matter what. Okay, cool. Good to know. Frustrating though, in terms of trying to get a symmetrical design, or a design you can just copy paste in. Not sure how we did that before. I mean, what we did before was a lot simpler because we were using loader straight into a giant mixed warehouse that then filtered out. Here there's no mixing of goods, which could be one way around it, but you would need a mod to mix the goods for sure. The steel chest doesn't have enough space to connect to it without loaders as well, so you need a mod either way. So this is in the interest of getting it, so we'd need a different design as well on like the north and the south. One of these probably matches each of them, I would imagine. Here. So the problem here, that can still connect there, that could connect there, and then this one. Yeah, not great, really not. Messy as hell, but it does the same job. I find that, yeah, very annoying. For it only being one off, yeah, it just doesn't seem right. Don't see anything that I'm missing though. Well, obviously because I'm missing it. Any reason you can't just grab that, flip it? Well, there's, yeah, rail signals. So you grabbed that much and flipped it. Right. It would do better if you put the tank in this one, because this is based on the length of the train, not on the location of the wagon. Okay. Potentially different then. Still not the same, but if you grab that, put it there, that joins with that. That joins with that, and then this one doesn't. Interesting. It's much the same as what I just did down there. End up with this weird wiggle. But worse, because that's going to join there. Yeah. Okay, no. Don't like it. The general thing is just to avoid the pole with the tanks, which is doable. You just can't make a nice neat square within them. Okay. Not the end of the world. Ignoring that. Am I happy with these two designs? Again, not really. So same thing, the reason the belts don't line up is because I've been working on the length of the train, not the distance of the wagon. No, that doesn't make sense. That wagon is the same distance from the train station as that one. So the amount of belt it takes to get there is the same. It's just that the power poles are aligned different. Okay. Okay. So maybe a different... I mean, we might have to go back to square one and redesign the station to get it lined up. May have gone too far in depth with that. We will change the station to fit the power poles because there you go. This makes the power poles line up, and I'm quite happy doing this little box of poles just to cover the inserters. I'm kind of fine with that, weirdly. We won't necessarily be using this size though, so that is the spacing on that edge, and we put the extras in the middle so we don't need to change the corners. That fits them. How does that fit the other important things? That's more important at this stage. So if you had Roboport logistic coverage, that's the orange grid in the middle, the green one being just construction, which, yeah, we want the logistical coverage. Put them in the corners, and then, yeah, you'd need to be much wider to fit that fourth one in, which could change the way the poles align with the power with the train station. Bigger though, didn't particularly want to go bigger than this, especially not, I mean, this much. Let's line it up. So that one's there and that one's there. So we're talking about moving that rail to that point there, which is a significant move, actually. That's 15 rail sections down, which is an odd number, which won't work. Won't keep things central, won't keep things how I want them. So very much inclined to try and squish down to fit the 3. What would that mean? If I took that away, rail would be there. That's removing 8 bits. That's much more achievable. Okay. But that won't work with the power poles, right? Removing 8 bits? I mean, we know it won't, because that power pole will be there. Which we would want to move up by 4. Which can't be done. You can see how that's just 3 little squares there. We'd need to work in sets of 2 for the rail. So that won't work. So you pull it back further, which if we do that kind of box, we can do quite comfortably. I mean, if that box stayed where it was, and we put all the power poles 5 units away from the rail, would not be a disaster. Although they'd be however they would be. Okay. Stations are going to have to get redone completely. I think that they're just not great, but let's say there is a... The power will be that far... Power for the station will be that far from the rail because it's always going to have inserter box inserter. And the pump is always going to be that size, so that makes sense. So being 5 away from the rail could create a good line out. Maybe. When I said at the start it could take us 4 hours to design this, I wasn't being crazy. It needs to be perfect for some reason. Okay. So So not sure, yeah, not sure how that would line up. Let's say it's like this. Where do we end up? Two away at the top. And one away at the bottom. Okay. So they're not going to line up like that, which I think is fine anyway, because this, if this box lines up, this one doesn't, from what I can currently understand in my head. So fine. In theory. If we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and there. Then yeah, that connects however. And the belts won't be symmetrical. Can't be, I think. Just have to accept that. Station is a bit different on every edge. It's fine. Gone too far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. That's good. If that rail was there instead, then we're then 5 away. So you could put that pole in, right? And overlap the rail. Could do. Just it won't align around the station, so you'd have to stop them around the station. And we're not going to build any buildings there, so why bother? It's just here at the corner we'll need to join them, which we might not do with this type of pole anyway, so, you know, whatever there. That's all well and good. I'm going to strip all this out, actually. Or the whole station, and we'll worry about that. We've got example ones down here, right? Yeah, so we can grab them after. Let's get them out of the way for now. So we're trying to, and this squares off the robo ports, although they don't need to cover the bit that's not powered, so like that could change things out, but this is pretty good, you know, pretty square coverage from robo ports. Power poles are aligned nicely and it doesn't really matter around the station, so that's pretty good. So yeah, we just need to cut 4 bits of rail above and 4 below. We know we've got the ones dead center that can come out, and we know from before we can change this. So instead of these 2 signals on the corner, you have 1 in the middle, and then we squish things, which I'm happy to do because that fits more than a train. So we could cut there. But I don't think we can cut 4. How many can we? Maybe we can. No, we can cut 3. That's the length of a wagon. So say we do that. Cut 3 there. Get rid of these bits that aren't relevant anymore. Well, relevant at the moment. We cut 3 there, and we cut 1 that we added in the middle here. Move all that up to touch, and then move all of that there, but move that signal to the middle. Might as well. Full train there and an excess there. Maybe that one. Train and a half. Train and a wagon. It's not central. Oh, but this needs to move closer. That it will change things. Just put that there for now. It's center on the rail. Likewise there. And yeah, we need to move those edges. Could deal with that in a second. That signal moves down, sure, which I like, closer to the actual thing. Could be there, so that's where it probably should be for consistency. And that's 1 above it, 1 above it, 1 above it. Yep. Follow that same pattern up here, so the center Doesn't look like we can cut another one out, but I guess we can. Let's cut that one. And then down here, 3. Move that up to touch, and then they're going to be misaligned now because we've been moving things. Deal with that in a second. Put that there. Place them. Yeah, it isn't going to look right on the edges yet. Move that one up to there. No, there. Not sure that looks right either, but train lengths are fine in the sections. That's all good. Okay. Maybe getting somewhere. So that's now going to move down there. And something wrong. Okay. Start again. Touching the rail there, touching the rail there. There and there. Looks like it isn't touching, but that's the space. And then the gap in the middle is not right. There's a piece out of line. Okay. Have I just done that wrong? Did I miscount something? Not sure. Don't feel like I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There and there. That's wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's an extra piece somewhere. So I'm not sure where. So the distance from, let's say, where that curve stops to where that curve starts should be 8 bits of rail. Down here it's 9. That's where that curve starts. That's where that one... No, it's 8. That's the mirror. It's 9 on that side. Okay. That looks wrong. They're lined up. They are not. Okay. How has that happened? Or is that just how it... No, it shouldn't be like that, right? The two sides should be matching. That should be 9. Okay. No, they're not matching. Should they be? That curve starts there and it ends on the next one up. The issue is that signal is above that one and that is below that one, so that's not right. That gap is 8. That gap is 7. Maybe that is right. I don't think it is. How should we fix that? Those are in the correct place. Which means those are. The one on the left should be one above the one on the right, which they are not here. So this should be moving forward up until that point. So does that fit a train? No. There's your problem. You don't fit a train there. But those signals are all the wrong way around. One below, one above. So this should be shorter. Something's gone wrong. And was wrong from the start. Okay. Okay. That explains that at least. Not why things seemed to line up before I cut things out. It appears I cut things out evenly because it was just wrong to begin with. In the middle here, weird. Kind of need to start it again really to avoid that. So I'm running out of space to play with here, but I'm pretty sure this is infinite. Let me cut a bunch here though that's not really relevant because it's all going to change. Cutting all that. Those few poles. That's where we started and is something. This is just not quite right, so I'm going to cut it. And we'll have to, yeah, go again to try and get this lined up right. We know what we're vaguely aiming for, though. 3 of these joined up. And then get the edge of that. Up 1. So that's the corner of that. Yeah, the power poles aren't quite like that, are they? They're like a corner there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Yep. That pole probably won't be there. Something like that, maybe. So the spacing on that, put a few in. Lucky that that actually the pole doesn't misalign with the roboport there. That could be an issue. No, that one's okay as well. And that one, yeah, we'll be fine. Won't actually touch. Good. That looks right, but also looks wrong. One there instead. Yep, that's where they live. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that's good. So that's... It seems theoretically possible from what we were looking at before. This is what we're after. There. Cut them corner ones. For the edge, we're trying to fit the rail with that, while having it kind of look like this. So... This is the corner, it should be even. One back from there, so that is that corner. No. Yeah, that's right. And we can have that in because we're 5 away. That makes some sense actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the corner as well. Cool. There we go. So that's there. Fine. That lives there. Yeah, good. And we know the distance in order to allow for the station is 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 in between them. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the 5th. It's going to live there, and then like that. 1, 2, 3. No, because we had one there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So that distance, out of curiosity, I'm not sure how we know. That's 65 bits of rail. Can't be an odd number. I mean, it can be. It might have to be, and therefore unaligned, aligned different. Okay, fine. We'll go with that then. It'll be aligned different. 65 though, so how different is that to this? Can't really tell because of the curves there. But I can copy that and line it up. Oh, it's like one bigger. Okay. Right. Might be necessary to stop the mess we made. This would be good if we can get the pattern right in a layout, in a spacing like this. I'd be very happy. Kind of looks a bit big. Will we try and do one that's only got 2 roboports? We can give it a go. This is probably the direction to work from, though. Getting somewhere with this. That's what we did. Let's get some signals down here. Other way round, isn't it? Well, yeah, which is awkward because of that. Let's imagine we didn't. There and there. Maybe. Or go the other way around. There and then, yeah, in the middle. One there. See where we end up with this. on the corner. Sure. Not by much though. Maybe two bits from where the curve is, which just means move them all up one. Sure. Might then be evenly spaced. Oh, I guess the thing is the crisscrosses aren't the length of a train; they're a bit longer. This doesn't necessarily help. But that is, those signals are now all evenly spaced, which is pretty cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 gaps there, which isn't ideal. Number would be better. That's fine. If the crisscrosses are a bit longer, then they're not going to line up like that. This tells us where the middle is, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's Robopod is in the middle. That makes a lot of sense because there's an odd number of them. Sure. I haven't looked at radar either. One in the center of the square would cover pretty nicely, maybe. They're going to be ugly. Doesn't matter what we do, the radar coverage is going to be ugly. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay. Where do we put the crisscrosses? So this was train length, then crossover, train length, crossover, and so on. Give that a go again and see if it works. So that would mean doing a crossover here. There and there, sure. Remove that one. That would then move down to there. So train length, crossover, kind of like that in as we go. Move this up. That's then train length. Then we cross over again. That is just moving down a little bit. Interesting. This is the station. Okay. Something not quite right here. Let's go from the top, do the same. So there's train length and then we crisscross here. That'll move down. Take that one out. That's, yeah, not good. Train length. And then you cross over. Now we can see the problem already. Is you cannot fit a train length there. Like a station to unload. So that, yeah, doesn't fit. Can't follow that pattern in this space, which is interesting, as it's longer. This one up here is longer than that one down there. Why wouldn't it fit? Am I crazy? I am. No, I'm not. The difference is I moved that one away, didn't I? Right, so we can move it all down one. If you move that down one. Move that much down one. And then up here, cut that away. And that. Try not to overcomplicate it. Move that to there. And then that one is there, which should be just after the curve. Good. And that one in the middle of there. That adds more in the middle here. Does it add a train length? Looks like it doesn't. No. So there's a train length there. There's a crisscross there, which those signals could move forward. I mean, the curve, they're at the start of the curve, but they can move. No, they can't. Not on that side. Damn. Okay. These could move back. Yeah, they could move back. Okay. So that's train length. That could move to there. Ooh. So it doesn't need to. Train length fits there. Okay. Then the crisscross. Then that can't move. That one can't move either. Not a train length there. Crisscross there. Train length there. And train length there. So what? If we're adding an extra square in, why are we having difficulty getting this aligned? If I grab that. This is definitely going to drive me crazy. But like I say, I'm not going to build a whole base out unless I can get it exactly how I want it. So this is just moving the crisscross up one. This one. So in theory, let's say we do that. Yes, now we can fit a train there. But we can't fit one there. So we'd have to move this back, but that doesn't work. It might help that the signals here are in the wrong place. That could help make it work. That's a train length. There's a crisscross. And it doesn't fit a train here. That's why. Okay, and on the other side, train length, crisscross, train length, cross, train length, cross. It does work. The whole way down. How can it work on one side and not the other? So this, copy that. Can't flip it, can I? Damn. But if you line the crosses up, then both of the center ones move out. Or... wait, what? No, both of them move up. Both of them are moved up. Which in this case would be moving down, so moving that down somehow? Doesn't make any sense to me. That's there, that can't move forward, it's on the curve. So if I take the signals away, I need to do that. Can't flip it, but I can rotate it, can't I? If I grab all that and rotate it twice. And that lines up the rail. Man, there's undoubtedly someone somewhere watching who can just visualize this in their brain and is going insane about it. I can't at the moment. So train there, so, and then they don't line up. Okay. The signals end up massively out of line. In the middle, but not... okay. Very confused now. As far as I can think, this signal should always be one square above the one opposite, so that should be down a bit. And that should be down a lot. That one is longer than... that one is longer than that one. Would mean that is longer than that. Is that right? That's 6 straight bits, yeah. Doesn't fit a train. Doesn't fit a train. Okay, that's just, yeah, how I've moved something. That I probably shouldn't have. So, on this side, we want 7 straight sections. That's 8. It should be 8, okay. That's only 7, so that's where we need to grow. That's only 6. Okay. And that is 8. Okay. Confused again. I think it just doesn't work, right? Maybe that's the crazy thing here. We need to just spread it all out and add a couple of extra bits. Make it ever so slightly bigger. What if... Well, the mess of it actually is probably worth starting over. If we do move everything, just a tiny bit, so that's down 1, that goes over 1. Get the distance on that from here. Kind of. That means the Roboport coverage is now stopping 1 short, and the power is stopping further short. Kind of where we were aiming for earlier, I think. Similar, but okay. We could add those extra poles in potentially, but doubt we need to. Let's say we do this. There we go, and then here, 4 forward, go around, add an extra 1 in, and then around, and we should be 1, 2, 3, 4 away. Cool. At least I'm starting to get a hang of that distance, if nothing else about this. Line them up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. The usual 1 extra, and on we go. Cool. So, get a signal. There's 1 there, right at the end, and 1 in the middle of there. Train length back. Then from here we do a crossover. Can't do it from here, right? Or is that correct? And from there. And then your signal goes there. So that's correct. That is 7 units. And it fits a train. That feels better, or correct, maybe. On the outside, so the closest we can get, that's there. To make that block, and then a train length back. Cool. And then we do this again. Copy paste might make it more accurate. Good. I think. That is, yeah, 7 between the curls. Okay, the curved piece. Next one back is there, and then we put the curve there. That is 7 straight. Okay. I bet this doesn't end up in the right place, but it's coming together correctly so far. Cross, cross, cross. So 1 more cross should be going in. That's there. Curve should be there. Great, 7. That goes there. And then train length there. But that should be there. So what's the difference there? 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. That's an even number, which is good. It means the extra that we put in can come out and everything should still be consistent. Just with one extra. So 1's coming out at this end. Move that up 1. Take 1 out. Cut all of that to there. And that puts 1 in at this end. So this gap fits a little over a train, so that, yeah, should move back as well. Fits a train. There's a straight ahead of it, but there are 7 there, and then there's 7 there. And there, yep. And there, perfect. That's 7, and then there's a straight, no, there's 1, 2, 3 straights behind that, so we do that again. Move that up 1. Cut 1 out. Move that up. But not copy. There we go. And then same here, move that down 1. And all of that up. No. No, here we add that in and move that up 1. Yeah. So there's 1 ahead of it. 7. No, 8 there. 7 there. 7 there. Last one where... Okay, that is 8. It's different at the end. There's a straight there and then it's 8 including the signal, sure. And down here, 8 including the signal and then 1 ahead of it. So it's symmetrical, that's fine. This isn't anymore, I don't think. Am I crazy? That touches, that touches. That touches, that touches. No. Spacing's good. Sure, we were just shifting this to be central, so the central point is now more central. Okay. So now's the bit that's prone to confusing me. We take all of that, well, I mean all of that, and we can't flip it, so we rotate it. I mean, maybe that's the problem, flipping it would do better. But if we put that there, first of all, the networks don't join, which is interesting. Not surprising, actually. We'll probably end up joining them because it's vanilla-like and there's no reason not to cover your entire base with robots. But that's fine. Like, that can fit in between the rails in the middle there, which is pretty cool. And then one on the... No, we'll deal with that in a bit when we work out everything else. This leaves the signals misaligned because... No, I don't get the because. So that is 8. And that is also 8. The exit of the crisscross is different to the entrance of it? Jeez, I don't know. At this end, that signal's above, and it... Because it's longer. I don't know, but that's... Right. The length is behind the signal. So that is longer than that. That does kind of make sense. So in each case, the left signal is below. That's the normal place for it. Except at the ends, the gap is different. And it shouldn't necessarily be. Like, that's more than a train length between them, so that should come back. And up here, it's more than a train length, so it should come back, and let's make it a train length. Sure. This is then, like, you can't put a signal here, and that's less than a train, so that's just the closest it can be. That's fine. So in each case, the one on the left is below the one on the right. Yes, all the way. Okay, this is good. This has kind of sorted it out. The alignment to the power pole, to the robo network. The radar will just, it'll be messy, we'll live with it. The grid is all good and you fit a train in the middle in each case. And we get all of the crossovers, which is, you know, more is better, I think. More flexible, isn't it? An hour and a quarter to work that out. Okay, well at least I'm kind of happy with it now. Let's put the curve in. The signal for that. Which one was it? It was this one, right? Yeah. Oh, it should all be chain signals, like. And then every entrance. So that's those, and then those. Entrance to a junction. Should be the chain signal. Which is that one. Not the others. Good. Okay. And then in the middles of these, I guess. How does it go? So there and there. Just keep them aligned. Is that right? Yeah, sure. And then that does make a difference. Yeah, there and there. Okay. I can't flip it, can I? So They're on the closer to that rail and they're closer to the junction. Is that symmetrical? Yeah, it is. Them signals in all the way down. Good, and then to the middle, which is here. This one has to move forward one, and that one has to move forward one to allow the station there and there, which fits a train and fits a train. Okay. Actual inserters and pumps and stuff. Let's come back to that in a bit. We've kind of left just a big space by not having the poles there, so we could do whatever really, and it'll be a little bit messy, but not awful. So that's all good. Here, can we? So we're missing that signal, and then can I grab that? You're vaguely the right place. Then grab all of that. That in, I don't know, every direction, maybe. Doesn't really matter. We don't, you don't necessarily need that much of it in every direction. But it might be nice to, yeah, do like a 3x3 of it all. Yes, let's do a 3x3 of it all. So, how do we do this? Do the top end as well. However. Whatever. Not quite. We paste as well. Let's grab the right amount, so that's halfway through it. That's close enough, actually, yeah. It's not quite right. There we go. That there, there. So on. Where are we? Sure. A few things I placed down there a bit in the way, but not quite in the way. It's pasting in nicely, at least. Not complaining about anything, so everything must be vaguely in the right place. I hope. And one there. What am I missing then? A whole bunch of these. And one more row at the top. It is a bit big, I would say. I do still want to try the smaller one. I know that might drive people crazy if it's something we do today, but I did warn you. Let's move these because they're not... Still do vaguely want the reminder of them there, just in case. That's all of that much, but I do still want to just grab... So the bits that are terminating... We still want some of this, I guess. Kind of not, actually, right? No, they still need to be able to use that corner, so it needs... That bit's not necessarily needed, but I don't really want to fiddle with that around the edges, I guess. When we paste in a blueprint, it can have rails that go nowhere. They won't try and take it. Trains are smarter than that. They don't need the signals, though. So I'm trying to grab that bit of rail. Yeah. That's the square. To there. No, not quite. The rail, but not the signals yet. That much. That on every edge, and at least it'll all be consistent all the way around. We'll have this size planned out. So we could, in theory, copy paste and blueprint parts of it or whatever. Set some trains up in here to test it out. And yeah, get the stations sorted too. But there we go, you know, that's all good. And let's fill in the middles as well. Extra poles everywhere. I have one extra roboport there, actually, isn't it? I do wonder if they'll end up in the way. Well, we kind of saw that with the radars earlier. They didn't really get in the way. We can work around them. It does look big, but it doesn't really look too big. I mean, we can test something in one, can't we, you know? Let's see how much space, you know, a smelting setup needs to fit in, whatever that is. Work out what that is and see if it does fit. Lining this up is going to be... I'm going to want a bit of rail so I can. There. That's handy. Pretty happy with this. Still do want to see the smaller one, whether we can make it happen or not, but still. We do need to work out how we join these up. So let's say, for example, we just carried on. Then the rail gets in the way, sure. What if we are down here? Then the rail gets in the way. And we can't get the join yet. Okay. So I guess we will want to use something else. Like, you know, large power pylon, which we're not making all, but, you know, whatever we can make. If we were to join them in the middle. And then put them on every corner. I mean, do you need the ones in the middle? You do, or they won't join. You could put them here. Make a box. Yeah, kind of like it. We still want RoboPort to join. Which we're not making them at the moment either, but we just want to plan the space so that they can definitely fit. Some overlap, I guess. Yeah, a little. Bit annoying. But the spacing between the two isn't exactly the right width. I'm not going to fiddle with that though. Don't worry. There, I don't know why it's not joining with that, but it will. A power issue maybe. Feed them some power, they'll be happier. So is that dead center? I thought it was like a 3x3 building. No, it's a 4x4 building. Okay. And dead center in there, but we need to get power to dead center then. Also, more radar, which is a 3x3 and makes that awkward as hell. Doesn't particularly matter, there's just going to be a lot of overlap. Either we throw one into the middle of every square and... Just looking at the minimap coverage. Just, yeah, it doesn't fit so nice there. The grid... A little hard to tell, I guess. Is it's just slightly smaller than the radar coverage grid. Doesn't quite align very nicely into the kind of blocks that the radar works off. Could we... Like we could move the rail around to align with the chunks differently. And then the radar might line up nicer. Yeah. Possibly. It's a little awkward. Didn't we find a vague way of doing this? We thought worked. Like you snap it to 32x32. But then, yeah, your grid position I'm not sure on. We've got 64x64. There's the box, but we need that to be central. So we'd need to know how wide our blueprint is. It's a lot wider than that. I can't quite see the box because our blueprint's so big. But I mean, just in theory, say we do that. And then stick it, generate a bit more of this map. See what this does. I mean, yeah, actually it is an improvement, but it just kind of confirms it's not quite the right size for it either. It does, they want to be slightly wider. And a bit more taller. Not good. Not helpful to try and align that, I don't think, at all. No point. And if we're overlapping, then the alignment doesn't really matter. So we just, in every corner, there's one I'm playing with. We just have a radar. Then the next corner over is going to overlap with it, and so be it, I guess. I just, you know, want the coverage and everything, so that's fine. We will live with that. Powering them. We want the roboport to be dead center, so I don't want a pole in the middle. If we did a grid of large power poles like we had before, then the radar's a bit... Well, that can move. So we do that even. Get rid of these ones. Not that one. Feed them in. We can get rid of that wiring, just tidy that up a bit. Wire it in one straight line. And then a radar just goes wherever. Maybe not there. Can't be central. I hate odd shaped things. Don't want it that close to the rail line. Above, I think, is best. Let's go with there. Annoys me least. Does it? There is an option. Moving these out. Don't want them that close to the rail either, do I? No. So I'm not going to make a 3x3 gap, then there's not much point. Really pretty picture with all the wire. In a weird way, I kind of like that. Bit funny, but there we go. Just put that in that gap. That's how it's going to be, and we'll have to live with that. That's fine. Cool. In theory. Can I just grab all of that? Put one of them in all the middles. Want them on the outsides as well, though. That's annoying. I don't necessarily want those powers. Tidy that up a bit. Not that it really matters. We've got that station there that's a bit irrelevant. Could have all this power here as well. I guess. I don't know. When we paste the blueprint in, what do we need the whole ring, so it has to be all of this. So it kind of makes sense to have that line of power poles, actually. We'll see. For now, I just want to grab like that much. Sure. I think we will have those lines. Yeah. Yeah. We'll again deal with that in a second. Just a few. Be pretty happy to just use this though. I still want to look at this option of a smaller one, but I'm pretty happy. Okay. So we're also missing the ones in the middle here, yeah. Unless we don't connect all the grids up, which, you know, it is an option. We don't really want robots going from one to the other because we've got trains to do that. We want trains to do that. But, you know, do we want to be able to isolate? Maybe we want to be able to isolate so we can use robots for production within the grid. Okay, there's an idea. Just a thought. Use robots to move things to and from machinery to make something, but when it's made, it goes on the grid and yeah, there's no reason for a robot to fly it anywhere. I mean, the Might be, but only if the trains fail. If the trains fail, then we've proven a point in this series. In which case, yeah, I kind of like that idea. Roboport coverage within the grid, but not outside of it. If we did that, then we just move that radar into the gap instead. Bottom left, actually, I think. No. Bottom right, my favourite. And we'll take these out. Let's give that a go. Need to then put any of those, like the power around the outside to be consistent. Would like to, and then this example grid is done, I think. I hope. Do another example one with the smaller, or you know, if it can even work at all. Pick between the two. Start building. Not bad going, actually. I am confused. But we are making progress, regardless, on getting this planned, which is great. Perfect. I want whatever would fit in that distance. So it's the 5 straight bits here, which is 2 lines of power pole, I think. Well, yeah, because that's where we grabbed from. Say I just can grab that much. That lines up good. Yeah, cool. Let's place them in. Turn that around. So the 4 corners will need doing. So they're a little bit different. Come back and do them in a sec. Should have gone clockwise. Or remember the keyboard shortcut to rotate the other way. Not a big deal. If it's 2, then it's those 2, right? Just like that in each corner. Seems silly to build it, but also, you know, consistency is I do like. That all joins up. Yeah, it's pretty cool. See how well we can fit everything in the grid with the roboports in the way, but there's an example, and therefore I need to keep this station because, or these stations, because they are like potentially how it's going to look, or very close to it, a basis to work from. Just grab that much, keep it safe there. They're done, as long as I remember, but I'm just going to cut all this away because it's not what we're working from anymore. Seems good. So, in theory, the only way to make it small is 2 roboports or 1 roboport. I don't think we're going to do... I mean, that's just in theory. If we were using 1 roboport, we can't really turn the corner. I mean, the others were that far away. But if you have... well, you need a crisscross, so trains can get around. Or they could, like, go the other way, but I don't think that really works. Or we could not have the bypass. Let's not... Let's grab a center from here. Bring it over to the right and work from here. So you can get rid of the bypass route. It's an option. And then come back in again. Like that, yep. Yeah, we still need the distance between those two to be like the same, really. And then this. There? No, further over. Not even sure at this point. I mean, I need to turn that corner, right? The tightest possible. Maybe. And then, yeah, your roboport is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 away from that. Oh, but... Oh, from that one, yeah. Which is good. Ooh. Crazy, maybe. Where does that sit? Turn that corner. Like there, I think. Not quite. No, what's wrong there? That's wrong, right? Comes around the corner and then there's a straight with a signal on. So this one is going into... I can see a problem with it, but bear with. That doesn't need to be a chain, does it? That can be a regular. They are allowed in, and you just want like a chain in the middle there or something. That, because that one needs to be a chain because it's going into the roundabout. Is a thought that I need to get out of my head so we can keep working on this. That's there, that's right, and that's there and there. Then this is not in the center. We can go there just by moving it like that. It's one away from each direction from this station. Okay. Okay. This is a very silly idea, but like not impossible. How tiny do we really want to go? That goes fine there. Then you need, however that's joined up, so from there, close do they need to be? Like that, right? 2 away, like normal, and that's fine, I think. Be there, sure. Actually kind of seems fine. It's a bit silly, yeah. Let's summon that back. Yeah, it would be okay. And you got that there, and you got your usuals through here, like we got on the others. And a train in the station doesn't block the other guys from leaving. Although again, there's not much point in having chain signals. Like, it just means the guy doesn't wait here, doesn't block this guy. Yeah, so it doesn't... We could remove them. I don't imagine we're going to make one this small, but just for the sake of the theory of it all. Don't need power coverage in these little corners. We wouldn't necessarily go there. Just noticed that. Sometimes God mode building is a bit too fast. Or how do we line this up? No idea. Let's say it's touching the rails there and there. And we end up 2 bits too far, or 1, 2, 3 away. Okay, yeah, so the power poles will not line up because that's an odd number. So if we move them all down, 1 it's 2 at the bottom, 1 at the top. So you can't get a square grid of power poles in the middle necessarily, unless we move them way in, sure, in theory. That overlaps by 4. It's like take a pole away and then work out the distance that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. So we want to move all this down 5 or over 5. Or both. That would be central. Okay. It's kind of tempting, just out of curiosity, to build it like this. I don't know, really. It seems very, very silly. But this does seem a bit big. I think it allows the flexibility for the little trains to keep moving a lot, though, and that's what's going to be necessary to get them delivering enough, quick enough. Maybe. I like this. It's very neat, very tidy. This is, I mean, it is neat and tidy, but it's very small. Well, it's there, you know, as an example. The next example to kind of work with is 2 of them. How's that? So down a little. I'll move that up 1. And that's left 1 as well. There we go. That's the distances on that. We're working on the same theory as here, right? This is what we've already got. So might as well just grab the central part, I guess. See how it goes. Mandy Smith, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate that. How's that? I mean, that's not bad. Looks like that's lined up on the thingies right. So if that went there, wouldn't be bad. How are you? Not too bad today at all, thank you. How's yourself? One crisscross and then 1 train length, I guess, is what we're aiming for here. That would be there, which isn't bad. Could be onto something. 1 away there. Then, so it's 1 away there, so it's 1 away there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Like before, add the extras. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, not bad. I'll flip it, can I? I have to work that out myself. Let's get the train length in. Probably the wrong signal, but it doesn't really matter at the moment. How's your day going? My day's going all right, actually. Not bad at all. Struggling a bit with the hay fever, but that's I'm sure that'll get better soon. How about you? How's your day going? Are you having a good Wednesday? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the right distance. Something doesn't seem right on that corner. Like that's 1 away and the top end isn't. Which is interesting, but manageable. Check that in a second. That would be there. And yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4 there. 5 down here, so yeah, it's 1 longer at the bottom. So if we want to fix that, we just make it 1 longer at the top. And then move these up 1 and over 1. There and there, so they don't quite touch the edge, which is fine, it's not a problem. I don't think it's a problem. Like this isn't. Yeah, that's not touching. These ones are not either, a bit further away even, so that's, yeah, fine. For the distancing on that. Might even have to change it more, mightn't we, with the power. So that gives us, sure, around the corner, train length, crisscross train length. It is like this with 1 fewer cross and 1 fewer train length each end. It makes a lot of sense. Let's get the power pole then and check this out. If we go touching and touching, where do we end up? There, okay. So yeah, we want to be short, and we're short by 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. So it's just a case of 2 up, 2 over, I guess. We have to remove that pole, don't I, at the end? Oh no, that's right. Down this end, 2 up and 2 over. Okay. So that's in the right spot. And seems okay. And that, okay, so let's work out the corners as well. Like that, I think, and so on. Don't necessarily need those poles, but the rail for sure. Let's grab all that, flip it round. As I go there, right, one above. I think. That can be flipped, so that should be right, and then go around the roundabout. Seems good. Grab. We want to signal it properly, right? I didn't signal the one below properly, did I? Oops, never mind. It's actually quite a bit of a gap after there. Could we? Should we shrink it more? We could, if it fits the best part. Shouldn't shrink it more because then the thing will overlap. So no. I mean, you could, you know, you could even have them join over it. Don't really want that. You can't quite fit a whole train there, right? No. Which is annoying, because that's quite a distance for them to have to come, but I do think they're going to be travelling fast enough that that doesn't matter. I think. In any case, that's regular signal. That should be chained because it's the one heading in. Yeah, not a huge fan of that. We can just shrink it down. It can be done. Interesting. That doesn't need to be chained. Have we done that right here? Yeah, we have. Okay. Just a thought that crept into the mind. They are going into a crisscross. They're coming out. That's going in. It's coming out. Then this one is going into that roundabout. And the roundabout needs them around, I guess. Portfolio dodged. Yeah, I don't know what confused them. I answered a question, I asked a question, and they didn't offer me anything. How sad. Beyond those ones, there we go. That should be signalled right. Sure, not that these need it at the moment, but there we go. Grab that muck at least and put it on there. Okay, and grab. Sure, all of that. There's a rogue pole there, but whatever. That'll do. Let's take them away, I think, for a minute of looking at it and trying to pick between these. Missing ones of them put in. Yep, it's all square from the looks of it. These should fit across. Seems good. Now this is the first time the roboport's in the way of the power poles. So they're not actually getting powered either, which is interesting. So they would have to have poles off grid in order to get powered. Which I don't like, but so you just put them on the insides. Some symmetry to it or whatever, but there we go. Just something about this design to bear in mind. Now that's small, but it's not that small. This I just don't think can do anything. You get everything delivered, unloaded, balanced out, and then you can fit like a machine or two, which it could be interesting as like a specific challenge. Maybe after this run we'll do another one where we try and go this small. Or, you know, when the base gets big enough, we'll try and shrink it. See if we can make it work or not. I don't think we try and build this initially because I think it's just setting us up to fail. There's just not enough space to do anything. This I like the size of, but I think it's just not enough. Like, only just. We can check that in a sec. This, to me, just feels too big, but is probably the right option. And it is neat and tidy, and I do kind of like the look of it all. So we'll probably end up going with this bigger, the 3x3 grid of roboports on the inside. That much space in each one and lots of crisscrossing over, and I think that gives the best opportunity for the trains, the little trains, to really do the job well. But if we were this size and we had unloading station like this, take all of it then. Would be there. Build what we can without poles. And then let's say the bottom is an outloading or something, you know. Do our usual, bring these things together and then work from it. I mean, even that's probably overkill. Let's not work like that then. Let's go with the most basic element. That we set up an area where we would smelt. Which actually might take more than one. Let's have a look. And just in theory, the actual like layout and design we may well change here. We probably will need to change because of where the power poles line up and stuff like that. But what I want to do is calculate a plan in Hellmod for smelting. Iron plate, sure. We want to do, let's say, blue belts. Let's work on that. One station can unload 2 belts of ore, and it's 1-to-1 ratio, right? So yeah, 2 belts in is 2 belts out over 144 electric furnaces. It sounds like, oh no, I mean, that is, whether it's a second or a minute, 2 belts is 2 belts. Interesting. Very interesting. I think 44 must be right then. There's 2 72s, right? Sure, 2 belts in, 144 machines. Let's assume that the system is correct because it knows much better than me. This up here is unloaded and turned into 2 belts. Then need to fit 72 machines here. 2 sets of 72, I guess. So what do we fit down? Leaving a little space to load at the other end. That's 22. Then the roboports get in your way. Let's say we went all the way and didn't worry about the age there. That's 88, sure. I'll go to counting as I go. What's that? 76. One more row out. That would be 72. So that's your 144. Okay. Not bad at all. Continuing the theory. Don't need stack inserters, do you, for something like this? Wouldn't make any difference. Those that way, those that way. Belt runs down and then the output joining up and everything like that. Make it easier to copy paste. Bad. Wenshu, hello. Nice to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Having a good day. I've missed a little bit. That doesn't really matter. I don't literally need to do this. It's just a proof of concept. There. So these are then split. However, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Actually, you don't need to split them here in that case. Something like that on the end of each of them. And that goes into there somehow, doesn't really matter the details. And so on and whatever. Not literally going to copy paste this, though actually kind of could, but we'll redesign it properly when we come to that if we do go with this. And then, yeah, the outputs by similar fashion, don't actually need all of it. What we got is all joined together, and then there's a station here that takes it away. 2 belts in, 2 belts out. That's a nice size. Very nice. So this size would definitely not work for that many machines, but you could unload 1 belt in, 1 belt out, maybe. I mean, how many machines could you fit in this space? I guess that much easy without things getting in the way. And then some where things do get in the way, I guess, and you just work around it. 56. So you would, yeah. I mean, you're not using the H1s in this case. You could build an extra row in, but that's definitely not going to work, not even for a single. So that is too small, I think. You could do something with this, and it would be interesting and fun, but it's too small. For what I want to be building here. This is a very nice size. And then this, you'd probably just have the opportunity to do more is the deal. You'd unload the iron on 2 sides. You'd have 4 belts in, 4 belts out. So you're aiming for, yeah, a lot more than you just did there. So we've got the row here. It's not even the full length, but probably wouldn't be actually cut the end. That's there, so that is 68. It's very close to your 72, isn't it? 68, 72. Yeah, so that's 1 belt's worth. And then that gives you your 2 belts worth, and then you double that in over here. Is that right? That looks right. That looks wrong. That looks better. Okay. So yeah, you'd unload on the left, unload on the right, and then load up the finished ones at the bottom, I guess. Or no, because you've got 4 belts in, you've got 4 belts out, so you need to unload. Use 2 stations for loading as well. It'll be very busy here, which, okay, may or may not be an issue, but it would be very busy. Interesting. Unload iron, load iron, unload iron, load iron. And enough space to do all of that, which is a lot. This is enough. This is much more compact. I kind of like it. Kind of really like it. What's another theory? Let's say we also wanted to make, I mean, something at the top end that we're going to be putting together at the end. You know, like yellow science. Why not? What if we want to do? What do I usually do? 60 a minute. What I generally do. Probably round that up this time around. It's 1.25 speed, so 75. Yeah, to get 7 machines, and then explode all of this out. Somehow, no, got that already. Then those, that, and those, and so on. Just need an indication of the total number of every machine. Close to, you know, what we're dealing with here. There, 187. Oh, but it's not defaulting to, oops, the kind of machine I wanted to. Not sure how I change that. Still not sure how I change that. Preferences doesn't have one for which factory we're using. Here's the logistical buildings, but not the production building. Okay, just do them all manually, I guess. Change any of the blue as well. But every time I change it, it scrolls back to the top. This is the issue I talked about in the last session, isn't it? I currently prefer the other factory planning tool. Okay, that all of them? I think that's all of them. So it's 88, of which 5 are chemical plants, but they're the same size. So it's 88 assembly machines, which are the same size as this kind of thing, but you'd have a lot more lines of belt and inserters doing different things in different ways, and how you bring all of the different inputs together into a bus would be pretty tight here. But that is 72 machines, and we're only talking about 88. It's not much more. Also, what I'm quite tempted to do is put the intermediates into production and onto the trains. So what you'd actually have in the square is just 7 machines, and we'd have processing units, flying robot frames, and low density structures delivered. And then in a different square, you'd have your 7 machines making blue chips, but you'd do more, and that would just have deliveries of green chips, red chips, and sulfuric acid, and it would just do that job. So at the end of the day, you end up just trying to fit as many green chips, for example, as possible in this one square. It doesn't really matter how many that is, it's just as many as possible, and you do multiple squares of that to get multiple available, which I kind of like the idea of, rather than doing all the production together like we have previously. Don't know. I'm inclined to take this size, 2 roboports. I kind of like it. But I guess we're 2 hours in. Why don't I take a quick break? And we can make that decision at the start of the second half of the stream. I think we'll go with this one, but we'll see how it goes. I'll just take 5 minutes to stretch the legs and do the usual, and then we'll come back and we'll carry on working on this size and see how it goes. YouTube guys, we'll see you in the next video. Do continue to like and subscribe and do all those usual things. Really appreciate the support I get on YouTube as well. But yeah, Twitch guys, I'll just be back in 5 minutes and we'll carry on. I'll see you then.